Yes. Anyone say yes or no? Can you ask Gabby? Gabby, can you hear us?
Is she unmuted? Turn off the chat so we don't.
Oh, okay.
Can hear us. Gabby, can you say something if you can hear us?
Yes, I can hear you.
Great, thank you.
Just touch it. Green. Green is go.
Thank you. Testing 1, 2, 3.
3, 2, 1.
Okay, Rick.
4, 5, 6.
Yes. We're making sure.
I second it.
You have to understand, they told us you have to have a sense of humor to serve on this.
Okay.
Well, I'm happy, and I said I'm excited to serve on a committee that has a sense of humor.
So I was demonstrating we did have one, but.
We talk a lot of trash in here. So.
Yeah, that- Okay. I'm calling the meeting of the Integrated Waste Management Commission to order at 10:34 on March 30th, 2023. Rick, would you like to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance?
Sure would. Ready, begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God,
indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Let me start seeing that.
Thank you. Clerk, may I have a roll call, please?
Councilmember Freeman,
Present.
Councilmember Perez,
Present.
Supervisor Sotelo, Supervisor Gonzalez,
Present.
Thank you. Can I have a certificate of posting, please?
So moved.
The agenda was posted on Monday, March 27th at 9:40 a.m.
Thank you.
Move to approve the posting.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
The county has one vote. Aye.
Okay.
We don't know who it is yet.
And so just for clarification purposes, so it was not specified on our committee's list. I guess I should check the county's website as well, but we're trying to identify who is actually the delegate and the alternate for the county. So I'm looking at a list that I have, kind of a Excel document, but I'm going to go on the county website really quick and check it to make sure that we have it correctly. Right now it lists Supervisor Gonzalez as the alternate, but we're not sure about that. So I'm going to check it and confirm.
Understood. Thank you.
Thank you.
So I won't vote today, okay? Just so there's no conflict. Okay. Go ahead, John.
Okay, moving right along. May I have approval of last meeting's minutes, which was September 15th of 2022?
I didn't get an agenda either. Is there another agenda? Is there another agenda? Or is it in here?
Rick, here's the minutes if you want to look at them. I looked at them and I didn't see anything.
Oh,
And if you need an agenda, I have an agenda here. Okay. Well, I got another one. I got this one. That's all I need. And I got one on the computer, if I can wake the computer up.
And if anyone is interested in reviewing the minutes, they were linked to the agenda that we had emailed, but we also have a copy in this binder as well.
okay.
Okay, do I have a motion for approval of the prior meeting's minutes?
So moved.
Second?
I'll second that. So
Thank you.
I'm going to be voting today, and Mindy and I made a decision, Madam Chair made a chair for the Board of Supervisors, going to appoint me as delegate, and she'll be secondary because there's a conflict in her schedule, so that I will take it. So that way there's not a confusion with the minutes, me voting inappropriately or not. It's not on the website designated, so I will be the acting body for the Board of Supervisors. Okay?
Thank you. You're voting to approve the minutes?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. So the minutes are approved. Thank you. Okay. Moving on, public comment. I think we should start out with the people on Zoom. Is there any public comment? You have 3 minutes.
No public comment on Zoom.
Thank you. Is there any public comment in the chambers?
I apologize. The Integrated Waste Management Local Task Force encourages your participation at this meeting and welcomes your comments. Speakers are requested to state their name prior to speaking to the committee. Not more than 3 minutes may be allotted to each speaker and no more than 20 minutes to each subject unless otherwise extended or limited by the chair. A speaker's allotted time cannot be deferred to another speaker. Committee members may question the speaker, but there will be no debate or decision. Pursuant to Government Code Section 54954.2, no action or discussion shall be undertaken on any item not appearing on the posted agenda. If appropriate, the chair or any committee member may direct that a matter be referred to Integrated Management staff for review.
Good morning, Chair Freeman, members of the committee, members and neighbors. My name is Christina Chavez White. I'm a resident of San Francisco County. My residence is at Sunny Slope and Fairview Road. Thank you. Chairman Freeman, members of the committee, neighbors, friends, community members. My name is Christina Chavez Wyatt. I'm a resident of San Benito County at Sunny Slope and Fairview Road. I have two items of information and concern. One is, I think it's important this committee receive information on rate implications on potential landfill expansion in a transfer station and the options of ratepayers. Simply put, our working families, community members, small businesses, and residents can't afford rate increases. Thank you for your support for resolution on negotiating an agreement for our community in the near term. I also wanted to advise I did submit a Records Act request to the county 24 days ago as a resident. I asked for the balance of the Landfill Enterprise Fund and 15 years of revenue and expenses. I've yet to receive a response other than an extension. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other, well, yes, of course.
Good morning, Mr. Chair. Following up on Ms. Wyatt here, led me to remember that there's been a rate increase by Recology without going through the Prop 218 process, and it's my fault that I failed to do a public records request so I can get all the information, but Christina just reminded me that the rate increase occurred based on the negotiations that were done when we requested back when Mark Medina was supervisor, that because we were in COVID, not to raise the rate increase. I requested a defer, not to raise the increase, and because people had lost their jobs, you know, the economy that we were in. And so it's my understanding that negotiations were done with the cities and with the county, and instead of the rate increase going to the customers, the city and the county paid Recology. So they still got their money. And what happened, instead of coming back and saying, I don't know how this could have happened, and you didn't put my timer on, so I can keep going if you guys don't put a timer on.
Please put the timer on.
I'm just warning you. So what has occurred is that automatically, I understand that there is a rate increase by Recology without going through a Prop 218. I don't know how that can happen. I don't know how that was negotiated. If it's part of the contract, you're supposed to go through the Prop 218. Another thing I was told by some residents out on in Stonegate is they put the trash out and Recology didn't pick it up. So then she called and said, why didn't you pick it up? We're like, whoa, because you're only on every other week. You're not paying for a weekly pickup. So if they want a weekly, there is a rate increase. I don't know how Recology can do that without sending out Prop 218. Maybe they sent a letter. Some of these people didn't see the letters out there. But there's things going on here that this is the place to ask questions of this company to find out exactly what's going on. I'm more concerned about the fact that they can increase the rates without any public input when the contract calls for public input. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Chair, I know normally we don't respond to public comment. However, both Supervisor Sotelo and I are new to this this entity and this body, and there have not been normal report outs at the Board of Supervisor level. So both she and I are coming into the situation brand new. I am aware of the concerns that Ms. Salinas has addressed. So I had reached out prior to this meeting to Mr. Sheriff Freeman and asked if we can be schooled on what this body does, what the rate increase, and I thank you for that history there, Elia, but I don't know this information. And why did the cities and the county pay the increase? Because I kind of agree with what Ms. Salinas is saying. So when we start this meeting, it's not on the agenda, but can we get a history lesson on what this entity does? And if she is right in coming to us, and what kind of authority we have to look at that? Because I know the rate increases were a significant discussion at the Board of Supervisors level, and I was not aware that Recology got that increase via the cities and the counties without the authorization. So I'm gonna be asking questions that may appear stupid, but I don't have the knowledge and the background other than what I know from the other side. So I apologize for deviating, but that information I'm going to need. Yeah.
Thank you, Supervisor Gonzalez. I'd like to move on to staff announcements, which I think would be the perfect time to answer your question. Thank you.
Sure. And
Thank you.
We will be providing a brief overview of the regional agency and our programs and services and what the role of the local task force is during the budget discussion of our meeting today on the agenda. As far as rate increases, the Board of Supervisors and the City Council did approve a 5-year maximum rate increase. So that was through the Prop 218 notice, and the rate increases are not to exceed 5% annually. I'm happy to provide a more in-depth presentation at our next quarterly meeting, and I can forward the task force members the memo that was provided to the city managers, the CAO for last year's rate increase. The year prior to that, we approved you guys approved your city councils and the board, the 5-year maximum increase, okay? So now, moving forward, I'm going to invite Monica Abonce, our recycling coordinator, to provide our staff updates. And we do have a presentation prepared with some of those updates.
Okay, good morning, everyone. To start off, our first general update is that we have filled our recycling coordinator position. This person will start on Monday, April 3rd, and they will mainly be focused on litter abatement and illegal dumping. We've also had quite a few events the past couple months. We held our first Green Business Mixer of the year on January 25th at Jardines de San Juan in San Juan Bautista. This event was in partnership with the San Benito County Chamber of Commerce. It was overall a great event. We recognized a total of 7 businesses. 3 were newly certified and 4 were recertified businesses. On January 29th, we held a storm debris recycling and disposal event. This was a free event at the John Smith Road landfill from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. It was an opportunity for all San Benito County residents to dispose of any items that had been damaged from the storms for free. Residents were able to drop off items such as damaged furniture, damaged household appliances, non-treated wood waste, and more. We also partnered with the HDA in efforts to expand our local green business network. This was their first quarterly breakfast since the pandemic, and we were able to co-host with them. This breakfast was held on February 1st at the Community Foundation building, presented on the benefits of going green, and encouraged businesses to sign up for our program. The event was catered by one of our green businesses, Farmhouse Cafe. It was overall a very successful event with over 40 people in attendance. And then this past weekend, we held our free bulky item recycling and disposal event in partnership with Caltrans, Smith Road landfill from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. Residents were allowed to bring in 2 bulky items free of charge. This was part of the Clean California initiative. Some upcoming events we have. Saturday, April 8th and Saturday, April 15th, Recology will be doing their environmental days. The first event, Saturday, April 8th, will be at Bergantino Park in Hollister from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. The following weekend will be in San Juan School in San Juan Bautista. They will be accepting e-waste, they will be doing paper shredding, and will be giving out free compost. And mark your calendars because we have our biggest event of the year coming up. Saturday, April 22nd will be our Earth Day celebration. We will be doing it in downtown Hollister from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. This is a great family event with art activities, games, performances, and we will also be announcing the winners of the 2023 Recology Art Poster Contest. Some ongoing general updates. We have been working on scheduling more waste trainings for all the regional agency facilities. We were able to do a couple at the end of last year, but we are hoping to do more in the near future. We are currently making some minor improvements to our sharps collection program. We are now registered for a reimbursable program for the disposal costs of the sharps and meds that we are collecting from residents. This is now possible due to Senate Bill 212, which places the disposal cost of these items on the producers. We are also transitioning out of offering free sharps containers and instead encouraging residents to take advantage of the free sharps and med mailback boxes that are also being offered through Senate Bill 212. As for SB 1383, we also have a couple updates. Recology recently sent out a bill insert with information on SB 1383 mandatory organics collection to all commercial customers. Although with our rural exemption, we are not yet required to be in compliance with this part of SB 1383. We are trying to get ahead and give our businesses enough time to prepare for these changes. We are also doing ongoing distribution for the kitchen food scrap pails. So far, we've given out a little under 200, and we plan on giving out more at our outreach events, such as Earth Day. And then we also submitted our edible food recovery implementation schedule to the state early this year on January 5th. Although we are not in need of more food recovery capacity, we are working closely with the food bank to improve our food recovery facilities. And that completes my announcements.
Thank you. Now we're going to move on to agenda item number 4, which is local member task force announcements or comments. Rick, you have anything?
Yeah, actually, I was just got a phone call from Kathina at the Benito, and she was saying that when council goes up and we have our water bottles in front of us, that we are promoting recycling. Good. But it would be, if we went a step above and we did, maybe not Raider cups, but although I would go for that. But she said that, you know, it's a good opportunity for us to promote reusable, you know, going to the next level. I think that's a really great idea. I also kind of added on to that. So like when the city or the county recognizes somebody, if we give them a cup that's they're using, and when they're out in public or at work and someone says, oh, I'm a Raider fan, so or when they read the other cup, they're going to say, oh, what's that about? well, I was recognized, so it gives them a little community feeling. It's a positive thing to do. So I brought it up to Selena, and we're going to hopefully just keep continuing on with that. But yeah, it sounds like a great idea, reusable.
Thank you. Supervisor Gonzalez?
To go back and address the comment I made about not being aware of it, I have been participating with you all, not knowing that it was the task force. And right now, the aha moment is coming together. Last Earth Day, we were there in San Juan, and then I have been there at the green, waste, the green businesses, almost every single one except maybe the last two. And so, again, inadvertently not knowing I'm participating, but I did not know it was the task force. So again, it's the label, the organization, me being on it. So I apologize for my ignorance. Again, I have been participating all along, just not realizing I was a team player, but just not, labeled. So my apologies for that. Okay, but it's all coming together. Yes, so thank you.
Thank you. We're glad to have you on board. I have a couple of comments. First of all, I would really like to thank Recology for their great work at the San Juan Arts and Crafts Festival, which occurred last week. I thought the people out there were very visible, and they did a really good job of keeping the area clean, and I know that the city manager was also quite pleased. So thank you for that. And now I get to give my quarterly speech on my favorite subject, okay? Thank you, Recology, for helping keep us ahead of the curve on SB 1383. Selena and other people have mentioned it just recently, and I want you to know I really appreciate your efforts in this area, and it's really a great thing. We're actually ahead of the curve, or ahead of Monterey and Santa Cruz counties, and even some parts of Santa Clara County in this endeavor. And for those of you who are new, SB 1383 is basically a state mandate imposed upon us by the state of California, which is going to require food and organics collections by literally everybody, including individual households, supermarkets, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And then next I'd like to speak a little bit about so last month I got an email from Tiffany Wise West, who's a sustainability coordinator for the city of Santa Cruz. And so I'm really jealous, because they got the first electric truck, EV garbage truck in the area. So I am jealous. I told her that. And so once again, I'm encouraging Recology to not make me jealous. When you come to everything mechanical has a lifespan, and so sometime one of your trucks is going to wear out and it's going to be ready for a new one, and I'm going to strongly suggest that you make it an EV truck and you replace it that way so your budget doesn't get hit all at once. I'll remind you that EV garbage trucks have the following advantages, and I think it's a huge advantage for San Benito County, because a couple of months ago, maybe it was even a year ago, I was out in some place I never knew existed, but it does, and I actually sat in the patio, so I now know exists. It's called Heatherwood Estates, and it's kind of on the way to the landfill. And so, and these people out there, they complain. I got to put it politely. They complain about the traffic, and in my opinion, a lot of the complaints about the traffic is the noise of the trucks. So I'm going to remind you that EV trucks are a lot quieter, like 10 times quieter. Also, they emit no diesel smells, smoke, and pollutants, and most importantly, they emit no CO2 as they drive by Heatherwood Estates and any other part of Hollister or San Juan Bautista. So it's a win-win for everybody. I know that the state of California, through the Air Resources Board, which is called CARB, California Air Resources Board, which is called CARB, is going to mandate that all state fleets and fleets under contract, and I believe this contract would count, you're going to have your fleets by, I think it's 2035 EV anyway, so I'm just kind of urging you to speed up the process, make the people out at Heatherwood Estates a little bit happier, and make me a little bit less jealous of Santa Cruz and such. Thank you very much. Bye. Okay. Moving on to agenda number 5, presentations.
Okay, first up for discussion, we have Mike Kelly with Recology, who will be providing the Q1 2023 updates.
Good morning, I'm Mike Kelly. I'm the General Manager with Recology San Benito County. This morning I want to give the Recology Q1 update. As we are in the middle of Q1, my update will include highlights from our annual 2022 annual report, which is a calendar year report, as well as some of the items we've been working on in Q1 of 2023. First, the county was able to increase our overall net diversion by 3.64%, crossing over the 40% threshold to 40.3%. The county saw increases in 1.87% in the residential customer base and an increase of 3.72% in the commercial apartment customer base. Next, last year during 2022, our Waste Zero team made 435 site visits, 180 of which were waste assessments. Now, waste assessment is where our Waste Zero specialists go in and look at the waste streams of customers and identify the best way to divert that material. As a result of those waste assessments, 62 customers either added to or increased organics collection service. Again, that's probably a good reason for the increase in our overall net diversion. We also continued our community partnerships throughout 2022. A couple examples of that. Gabby, who's joined us virtually today, she participated in a children's story time during Recycle Week at the San Benito County Free Library. Our Waste Zero manager participated on a panel. IWM put together a screening of the movie Story of Plastic, and she participated on that panel. Again, that was at the San Benito County Free Library. We also helped out the Boy Scouts of America this year, or at the end of last year again, with their Christmas tree drive. We provide 40-yard debris boxes for them. Those debris boxes are then brought up to our organics processing facility in Gilroy. For 2023, during the first quarter of 2023, we worked closely again with the IWM. They spearheaded a flood impact zone cleanup effort at the end of January, early February. We provided 6 roll-off boxes in that area. We also have provided some Saturday collection services where residents who were affected by the flood are able to put out items at curbside so we can go down the streets and collect those items. We provided that service on 3 Saturdays in February, 2 Saturdays in March, and we will continue providing that service again on Saturdays through the end of April. To date, we've collected over 48 tons of flood debris. Again, that was with assistance of the IWM, them getting the message out to those customers and us being able to go down and collect that material. Lastly, this is kind of redundant, the poster contest. We participated in the poster contest again this year. This year, though, we did have a record 276 participants. Last year was a record at 200. This year's a new record at 276. Judging will take place the first week of April, and winners will be identified at the Earth Day celebration that we've already mentioned, and that celebration is here in Hollister on April 22nd. I do want to give a shout out again to the IWM for their participation helping us out with this poster contest. We also have the San Benito County Arts Council who will be helping us judge. The Water Resource Association of San Benito County, they will be helping judge. And a big shout out to El Teatro Campesino, best I can do pronunciation-wise. They actually assisted with the workshops that helped the students create the posters for them to participate in the contest. and again, I'm a judge, I don't know why I did this to myself. 200 pieces of art, and I have to decide a winner. Next year, hopefully a smarter mind will help me move out of that. But I am a judge this year on that poster contest. Do we have any questions for me? Oh, can I make a comment on the EVs?
Sure, of course.
We do continue, Recology does continue to pilot those EVs. They're still in the process of getting to a point where we can use them. Santa Cruz is likely using a rear load vehicle. And if they're a rear load vehicle in a certain part of town, it will likely work in that area. What we found is they're battery, they need batteries. So in order to get a garbage truck down that street, we have to add batteries, which reduces the capacity of the vehicle. Our pilot that literally just ran in San Mateo County, it ran in, it should have been in last year, but it ran this year in January and February. We found that the side load vehicles, which is the ones that go through the neighborhoods where the arm comes out, well, we generally have 800 lifts a day, and that lifting tends to wear out the batteries. So their side load vehicles were only able to operate between 4 to 6 hours. When the battery gets to a certain point, between 20% and 30%, they have to come back in because they can't get stuck out there. So we are piloting them. We understand that it's coming. We are understanding 2035 is around the corner. It's closer than we think. But we are working to get those on the road. And as soon as they're viable, we will have them on the road. So just want to make sure you know we understand that the EVs are coming and we are piloting them. One thing that we do use, though, we do use renewable diesel in our vehicles, which is diesel that's made from tallow and that type of stuff. So it's a very clean burning diesel, so it's a lot better for the environment. I know it's not electric, but it is much better for the environment. So just so you're aware, we are using the cleanest burning fuel that we're aware of for our diesel operating trucks. Okay, thanks.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
More of comments. First of all, I want to say thank you for Recology going out there and helping out the District 1 Lovers Lane flood victims and doing that Saturday pickup. I know that was orchestrated through Selena and her department and RMA, but I just thank you. I've been out there working with the residents, and it was such a benefit for the residents just to be able to take their damaged goods to the curbside and you all be able to pick it up. So I thank you for that. And then going back to Christina Chavez Wyatt's question, I don't know if it's you or if it's more the county and the John Smith landfill. However, I have been asking about numbers regarding a transfer station, if that is the route we have to go, and some of the concerns that were raised. So I would like for, again, if this task force is that entity, for the public to be able to hear the expenses that might be involved if the landfill is not expanded by the Board of Supervisors, and what are the ramifications to the community, because those numbers need to be out in the public so that when a decision is made by the Board of Supervisors, they understand we're in between a rock and a hard place, and we have to go for the decision that's going to be that of the greater good. So whether it's you or Integrated Waste Management or it's the John Smith landfill operators, I don't know who would do that. Again, this task force is new to me, so I'm trying to find out who I need to talk to, because I've seen this project probably not as clearly as I should have. And so sitting up here is going to be a new role of understanding for me. So aha moments are going to be happening all throughout the day. But I have been inquiring about the cost for a transfer station, because when the Board of Supervisors have to make a decision, we're going to be pressed between two not so popular decisions. And so if we can get that information that was out. I'm trying to think what else I wanted to say, because you shared a lot. The art contest, yes. Last year, walking through the library, the Luck Library, was just awesome. So I don't envy you in your position. But you've got 3 individuals here, elected officials, that might be able to help you next year. If I'm not sitting here, whoever else is, because that then is a role of this. But the artwork was phenomenal. I remember taking pictures and posting it and sharing it. And so just thank you for what you do. Yeah.
Certainly, just an update on that. There will be streaming at the Earth Day Festival. All the art, all the submissions by all the students will be streaming at that event as well. So everybody's art will be seen, regardless if you're one of the winners or not. So.
And then one more question, sorry. Going back to Chair Freeman's concern about the electric vehicle, I echo that, but specifically that road where the traffic, the trucks will be traveling, is there any weight differentiation between a traditional garbage vehicle versus an EV in terms of weight on the road? No.
When they're fully loaded, there's a maximum weight that they can carry.
Okay.
So likely earlier on in the route, an EV is going to be heavier because I have to carry extra batteries.
Yeah.
New technology, batteries might get lighter. That's just current. But once they get rolling, our maximum capacity is 10 tons in our load now. If a ton of it or two is made up in batteries, now my capacity goes to 8 tons. But in total, the truck will weigh the same.
Okay, because that was a concern about the Heatherwood and the vibration that the residents are feeling as the roads go down the trucks go down the road. I know at one point the county did some sort of improvement, which the residents were grateful. However, there was some sort of structural damage that was discovered when the improvements went in, and this was during John Chambliss's timeframe at RMA. And so I just wanted to make sure that the EV trucks weren't gonna, if we did go that route, which I would commend and hope that we could, it wasn't going to be a potential issue that we're creating specifically with that road.
Yeah, trucks in the end would weigh the same.
Okay, thank you.
Certainly. Anything else?
Rick, you got a comment?
No, I just wanted to thank you for the presentation. That was one of the questions I was wondering about too, was the weight, because the toil on the streets. Yeah, but thanks for answering that.
Okay.
One last comment from the chair. I'm a little bit of a geek on the EV stuff, and so, anyway, there is something called solid-state batteries that are going to be coming into production soon, and they're supposed to hold more charge and weigh less, which is like, the goal, and they're not in production yet, but hopefully they will be by 2030 or 2035, you know what I mean? And personally, I think we're like, when cars were first developed, we're like, with EVs, we're like in the 1920s, and you compare a 1920 car, which did go down the road, but not very well, to a 2020 car, it's a lot different. So there's going to be improvements, massive improvements, I think.
Correct. My comment at the beginning when EVs first came out is diesel has a 100-year head start. So, but it will catch up.
Yeah. And thank you for all you do with the flooding and stuff. I know you were also a great help to the people in the Mission RV Park out in San Juan Bautista, so thank you for that.
Right. And again, all spearheaded by the IWM. So working in collaboration with them, we have a good team, I think, working together, so it works out well.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, thank you.
We'll want to open it up to public comment.
Yes, I was going to go out to anyone in Zoom have public comment on the Recology presentation?
No public comment on Zoom.
Anybody in the chambers? Thank you. Do we have any other presentations?
Yeah, next up, we have our fiscal year 2023 to 2024 Integrated Waste Management Regional Agency recommended budget. And Catherine pointed out to me, our staff analyst, that I was not smiling earlier, so I want to apologize. I just work mode. But I'm happy to be here. And yes, we're first quarter one meeting. I think it's running pretty smoothly so far. Okay, for today's recommended budget discussion, I'll provide some background on the regional agency and more specifically, the cost-sharing agreement between the City of Hollister, the City of San Juan Bautista, and the County of San Benito. This slide provides a brief overview of our various programs and services that we provide to the regional agency members and some history in 1995. What? Okay. Thank you, guys. Some history. In 1995, to comply with the Integrated Waste Management Act, the cities of Hollister and San Juan Bautista and the County of San Benito entered into a joint powers agreement forming this regional agency with county as lead agency. Our highest priority for the regional agency is to reduce the amount of solid waste disposed at permitted disposal facilities, as well as complete various state reporting requirements. And then listed here on this slide, we also administer various grants to help us meet those diversion goals. We have oversight of the Recology franchise agreement for all regional agency members, as well as oversight of the non-exclusive franchise agreement haulers. And at our past couple meetings, we have had a lot of discussions about NEFA, is what we call it for short, those non-exclusive franchise agreements. And so we'll continue to bring that forward to the LTF, likely at the Q2 2023 meeting. And then hazardous waste programs, green business programs, youth and school recycling support, outreach support, illegal dumping abatement coordination. So we hired that new coordinator, as Monica mentioned earlier. Really excited to start working on regional collaborative efforts with everyone, the Sheriff Department, City of Hollister Police Department. We also administer recycling events, the Market Development Zone, and then public education and outreach. So in 2006, the regional agency members entered into a cost-sharing agreement establishing cost-sharing for each member agency based on population in order to more fairly share cost for regional agency programs and services. And this agreement also warrants a local task force, the committee before us today, which serves as the regional agency's advisory committee to review its annual budget. The elected members of the local task force are responsible for forwarding a recommended budget to their respective governing bodies for approval. To facilitate this review, the county will submit a proposed budget to the local task force no later than April preceding the fiscal year of proposed expenditure. And I know there were some questions about delegates, alternates. We're happy to bring back the bylaws for discussion at the next meeting if that is desired by the LTF.
I don't know if we need that, just as long as we're clear with council and Supervisor Sotelo and I are okay with it. We just know moving forward for the following year, just as long as there's, but I don't think there's discussion is required.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you. So again, regional agency members share in the cost of operating the IWM regional agency functions. The county will perform services required per the cost sharing agreement and bill the cities and county for their proportionate shares. The local task force serves as an advisory committee to the regional agency and will review its annual budget, which is what we are doing today. Okay, so on this slide, we've summarized comparison of last year's approved expenses compared to our recommendations for this upcoming fiscal year. You can see for fiscal year 2022 to 2023, we had a budget about a little over 1.3 million. And we provided with you at the dais detailed of this budget. For this fiscal year, our recommendation, or sorry, for the upcoming fiscal year, our recommendation, slight increase, a little over 1.4 million. Now for staffing, Monica again mentioned we're very excited to be fully staffed as of next Monday. And for next fiscal year, we do recommend no personnel changes as we'll be focusing much of our resources on training staff, existing staff. That being said, there is a growing need for outreach support for events, school presentations, and various recycling trainings. Poor Monica and Angelica, we've got them working almost every other weekend on outreach events. So To help kind of reduce any additional costs for staffing and again, help us train staff, existing staff, we would like to recommend the additional budget for temporary employees and student interns. This is actually how Monica got hired on full-time. She started as an intern and worked her way into her existing role. And these costs aren't shown here. They are included in the services, supplies, and other charges line item because there's no benefit salary. Okay. For regional agency revenue, we anticipate up to $436,200 in grants, direct regional agency recology payments. Separately, there are individual payments recology is making to each member agency, but this is regional agency specific revenue. And then there's a few new miscellaneous payments that we're going to talk about in just a moment. So for grants, we have the following grants, all from CalRecycle. City County Payment Program, this helps us with beverage container recycling. We're able to buy recycling containers. We are looking also at water refill stations. I think we've purchased a few this fiscal year for the city of San Juan Bautista, and we'd like to distribute it evenly to the all member agencies. And that's about a little under $26,000. For the oil payment program grant, this is helping us pay for motor oil collection throughout the county. We have several drop-off sites, our hazardous waste site as well, and with program outreach, that is a little under $22,000. For hazardous waste grant through CalRecycle, this was a new grant that we awarded this fiscal year, and that was for $100,000, and we still have about $50,000 remaining to seek reimbursement. And for SB 1383, the state, through CalRecycle, had provided funding to local jurisdictions called SB 1383 Local Assistance. So that's helping us purchase the food pail, scrap bins that Monica talked about, as well as some consulting costs to help us with various organic capacity studies and building our programs so that we can comply with SB 1383. And we have about $80,000 remaining in that grant, and we were awarded about $108,000. Now for recology revenue, we have Recycle Day revenue. This is started off at $25,000 back in November of 2019 when we received our first payment from Recology, and every year it does increase. So this year we're looking at $28,500 for Recycle Day revenue, and this helps pay for those quarterly recycling events for bulky items at the landfill. And we have also been receiving some reimbursement from Caltrans, so we have an even bigger pot. For hazardous waste revenue that we receive from Recology quarterly, that totals we're anticipating $230,000. And this is based on gross revenue from the Recology accounts. For new miscellaneous revenue, we have the Clean California reimbursement that I had mentioned, anticipating about $8,000. And for SB 212, Monica had talked about that, how the producers are now responsible for the disposal cost of medication and sharps. So for reimbursement here, we're looking about $14,000 at all of our collection sites in the HHW event. Mattress Recycling Council, MRC, illegally dumped mattress collection initiative payments. This is something new Monica's been working on. It's not a whole lot of revenue, but every penny counts. And for every illegally dumped mattress that we're seeing throughout the county, if it's rural or if it's in the city limits, the public works staff that's bringing it to the landfill or another disposal site, we're reporting on that, and we get, I think it's $15 to $20 per mattress, depending on where it's located. So that's about 3 to 4 every month, so we've rounded up a bit. All right, for cost sharing, there is a clear mechanism established in the regional agency's cost-sharing agreement. Expenses are totaled with an additional 5% overhead cost added, and most revenue, such as grants, are deducted from the billable overall expenses to establish the billable expenses. So in this slide, we have the recommended expenses, which we've already discussed, a little over $1.4 million, and that 5% overhead on total expenditures is $70,985. Deducting the revenue that we discussed, we have a total billable expense now to the regional agency of a little over $1 million. For billable expenses to the regional agency, the cost sharing is based on the California Department of Finance latest population estimates, and that is for Hollister 65%. So their cost share would be $685,000, a little over. San Juan Bautista at 3.2% of the population is $33,744. And then for San Benito County, we have $335,000, a little bit over. Now, I want to talk about the
Can I
revenue.
stop you right there
Yes.
for a moment? Okay, you said 65% for the city of Hollister, and then you gave numbers rather than percentages for San Juan and San
sorry.
Benito. It's okay. I
It-
was jotting it down, and then you
Yeah.
lost me.
And
So
this-
what's the percentage for San Juan?
Sure. The San Juan Bautista is 3.2%.
Okay, 3.2, and then the remainder is the county of San Benito.
Is 31.8, and this is on the budget that we provided.
Yes, I'm jotting it down.
And I do apologize, the budget I had provided to you for fiscal year 23 to 24, it says final proposed. This is just the proposed budget. That
Thank
was
you.
an error
Sorry
on
for
my
the
end.
interruption. Go
Of
ahead.
course, no problem. So for revenue, the 2018 November agreement that was approved by the cities and the county established new revenue streams for the member agencies to help us sustain these programs rather than pulling from general fund. So here I have the 2022 data. City of Hollister is at total revenue. This includes AB 939 revenue, the Integrated Waste Management Act fees, franchise fee revenue, and as well as litter abatement fee revenue. So City of Hollister had a little bit over of calendar year 2022, 971,000. City of San Juan Bautista, a little over 77,000. And the County of San Benito, 492,000, a little over. Again, these numbers include Recology exclusive franchise fee revenue, litter abatement fee revenue, and Recology AB 939 fee revenue, which you, the cities and the county are receiving quarterly payments for those. The non-exclusive franchise fee revenues from our other haulers or any Dropbox roll-off service, even through Recology, those numbers are not included here. Oops. Okay, so I want to open it up now for any questions, and then we're going to talk a little bit about next steps. I know that was a lot of information.
Thank you for the great presentation. You're right, it is a lot of information. I'm still trying to soak it in. The state of California claims that they're going to have less money next year than this year in their budget. So are those grants going to be, what's the word I'm looking for, affected by that possibility?
I have not heard of anything from, at least for our cow recycle grants we're receiving. 2 of those are payment programs. I do not believe those will be affected. I take that back. The oil payment program grant, we have seen reduced revenue coming in because people are switching to EV cars and other things. And so the revenue for the payment program is coming from taxes on motor oil. But I don't anticipate. And then for the Recology revenue, that's based on gross revenue Recology receives, and there's different percentage of added on to establish the cost paid to each member agency. I don't anticipate those being affected either. Everyone needs garbage service and
Okay,
recycling service.
so I fully realize we're supposed to be at the 30,000 foot level here, and I'm going to get a little bit into the weeds because of my former jobs in the hazardous waste industry. I know for a fact that oil services, they will actually pay you for the used oil. So I don't see, I'm trying to figure out why that's an expense. Most of the trucks, which would be Evergreen, which was bought out by Clean Harbors, and then World Oil, which is Asbury Automotive and Environmental Services, they both come with, I call them pumper trucks, and they come and pump out your waste oil out of your bin or tank or whatever it is you have. And And the price varies widely, and it varies according to the cost of crude oil on the spot market, which is advertised in not advertised, in the Wall Street Journal. And I've seen it anywhere from where they have to pay when the cost of oil is down around 25 or 30 bucks a barrel. But when it's 85, 100 bucks a barrel, they're paying up to 50 cents a gallon. And right now, I think the price is around 30 cents a gallon, and because the price of oil is about $75 per barrel. I get confused here when I'm going to cents to it. But anyway, the point is they should actually be paying you for oil collection. And so I would suggest that you look into that, and it'll be a small revenue stream, but at least we won't have to pay. Thank you. I agree.
Any other questions? Okay. Well, before we open up to public comment, I just wanted to provide an overview of next steps. We will be on the agenda for the action items, asking for action on this. And to summarize next steps, Integrated Waste Management is to receive recommendations on the proposed draft budget from the local task force. We incorporate any recommendations for a final proposed budget. If there are no recommendations, then we would move forward with the proposed. Then the city, I'm sorry, all steps say 111. So City of Hollister and City of San Juan Bautista local task force members will forward a final recommended budget to their respective governing bodies for approval in April. Okay. And then it goes to the county as well for final approval.
So do you need a motion on that? Or not quite yet?
Not quite yet.
Okay.
Yeah, we have that under the action items later.
So I would now like to go to public comment in Zoom. Is there any public comment on Zoom?
No public comment on Zoom.
Public comment in the chambers, please. Seeing no public comment, we'll move on. Do we move on to, I believe we're going to item number 6, discussion items?
I think action items?
Oh, action, okay.
You have 2 item 6 on there, that's why.
Let me look at my other,
Our apologies.
It's okay, so action item is item number 7 then, right?
yeah.
Okay, then I would like to make then that motion to approve the budget for item number 1 under the action items.
Okay.
Second.
The motion has been moved by Supervisor Gonzalez and seconded by Councilman Perez. Do we need roll call vote? Or can we do it by voice? That's a question for the attorney.
Since everyone's present, you can do it either way. We usually do a roll call vote when there's no one present or there's a person missing.
Okay.
Either way.
Okay. We'll do it by voice. Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
The ayes have it. It's been passed. Okay. Next item is to set the quarterly meeting dates for the year 2023.
Good
Ms.
morning, committee members. We did some research on the past meeting dates and what works and what doesn't conflict with your schedules of your government bodies. And what we found is that we have to have quarterly meetings. And what we found was that typically the 3rd Thursday of the month works for you all. But you'll make that decision. And so we have some suggested dates for Q2, June 15th. And I can repeat these. For Q3, we're suggesting September 21st. For Q4, we are going away from the 3rd Thursday just because the 3rd Thursday gets close to the holidays and people like to take off. And so we're suggesting Thursday, December 14th. And for these meetings to be held here in the board chambers from 10 a.m. to 12 noon. And then, as discussed in this meeting, that you would like a landfill presentation, we are suggesting a meeting to be set in May so that you can have that landfill presentation. And we're looking for direction from you on what date, and possibly in the afternoon, if that's possible.
Okay, COG coincides with the June 15th, and so if the landfill was going to be on that, that would have to be a morning date, at least for me. I'm looking at any other conflict on the dates that you gave.
Supervisor?
In September, COG also is afternoon, so that would not work. 10 to 12, right? But the landfill was going to be an afternoon.
But we're suggesting that be in another meeting.
Okay,
And
other than
for
these
May,
dates.
not for June, but for May.
Okay.
And we're looking for direction from you three
Okay.
for that date.
So then as long as they're in the AMs, they will work, they'll just coincide the same day for my COG. So I'm good with that. And then May, we can figure out a date.
So I just want to confirm that you're okay with Q2, June 15th at 10 a.m.?
Yes, I am.
Yes, September 21st as well as December the 14th.
Okay. And then would you like to set a date for May 11th? Or should we just,
Let's go ahead, we're here. And for me, it's better to calendar it the sooner the better, because my schedule fills up quick. May, what date are you looking at?
I just threw one out, but it's any date that works with you all
But
three.
what date was it? I'm sorry, I was too
May
busy looking.
11th.
May,
Well, I was thinking, if we stay with the third Thursday, it would be May 18th. And we would prefer it to be in the afternoon to make sure that,
okay, the May 18th does conflict with the COG meeting, so if we went to May 11th, because I thought I heard May 11th, that works for my schedule for the afternoon.
We could do May 18th in the morning, though, from 10 to 12.
You're correct.
And COG is, I believe, 4
Yes, in
p.m.
the
to
afternoon,
6,
yes.
something like that, yeah.
So, but you wanted the landfill to be in the afternoon? Was your preference?
I think it was just a recommendation because we do have a landfill distribution contact list of about 120 folks, and they have expressed the preference to have afternoon meetings.
Is the 11th doable? I could do morning or afternoon on May 11th.
if it works for you all, it works for us.
Okay. I'll just pencil out the date. Would
Does
that
6
be the-
p.m. Does 6 p.m. work for you all?
That's fine. Would that be the agency would talk about the transfer station cost and so forth that was mentioned, the concern that was mentioned earlier? Okay, good. Okay.
So we have May 11th as a fifth meeting at 6 p.m. here in the board chambers?
Yes, okay.
Yes.
Okay. So once again, it's June 15th, September 21st, December 14th, and May 11th.
And what time is the May 11th meeting?
6 p.m.
6 p.m.
All others are at 10 a.m.
Okay.
And that's,
To
10:30.
noon.
that's not going to conflict with anything with the Board of Supervisors, the 6 p.m. meeting or the Planning
We'll
Commission?
double check and we'll let you know if it
Planning
does.
Commission or any of those other things I don't go to that often, so I don't know when they meet.
We'll let you know if
Okay.
it does, and we'll let the community know.
Thank you.
Okay.
So moved.
And I will second it, to accept the dates that were just listed by staff. June 15th, September 21st, and December 14th from 10 to 12, which is a little bit of a change. We're used to 10:30. I have to wake up earlier. No. That's okay. I'm just joking. Anyway, we have a motion. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
It passed. Okay. Okay, last thing is picking a new president or new chairperson for the committee.
Or keeping the same.
I'll make a motion to renominate Chair Freeman since he's doing such a great job.
Thank
I
you.
second that.
Thank you. Thank you. All in favor, and I'll abstain.
Aye.
Aye.
It passed. Okay.
Congratulations.
Oh, we forgot public comment on all that stuff. Any? It doesn't matter. By the-
Elliot, do you want to say anything?
You can send your comment in writing
Yes.
and ask for it to be read into the record.
And Elia, we do record the meeting, so if you wanted to watch it after.
Okay. I've lost my place here, so where?
You're ready to adjourn.
Okay.
Unless there's any other comments.
Thank you. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Adjourned. At 11:39.
I see how a sense of humor is required at this meeting.